and welcome to Virtual Budget Coaching brought to you by Simple Saving Habits. My name is Danielle, and I created Simple Saving Habits to help people better manage their finances. I've been a budget coach for many years here in the Dallas area. Simple Saving Habits is based on 3 pillars of money management. The first, changing money habits, is about retraining your brain on how you think about finances and how you spend your money. The second pillar focuses on better organization and budgeting skills. The third pillar looks at simple ways to save money on everyday expenses. This YouTube series will show you how to create a monthly budget utilizing the free budgeting tool mint.com. I've broken this training into 4 separate modules as not be completely overwhelming for the first-time budgeter. Module number 1 is about creating your roadmap. Even if you're routing to a destination using Google Maps, you need to identify your current location. This module is about creating that starting point. In Module 1, we will first cover why you even need to pay attention to your money. Then you will go through 2 exercises in which you will list out all your accounts and identify income streams and expenses. To complete Module 1, download the blank Budget Excel file from Simple Saving Habits website. That link is listed here on screen. Or you can just grab a pencil and paper. Do you feel like the average American? Or do you feel like everyone else has it figured out except you? As you can see from on screen, the average American holds a lot of debt, doesn't have much in savings, and won't be able to fully retire by the age of 65. Credit cards are extremely detrimental to your ability to save money. Credit card companies like for you to constantly borrow money. They make money every time you don't pay off the balance. Credit cards charge high interest rates and only require you to pay the minimum. If you had a $1,000 balance at a 12% rate and paid only the minimum of $50, it would take 5 years to pay off that balance, and you have paid over $200 in interest. That's 20% of the original value. By doubling the minimum payment, it would have taken less than 1 year, and you would only paid $60 in interest. Now, interest isn't all that bad, especially when it's working for you in the form of a savings or an investment account. Let's compare 2 different scenarios. In which of the scenarios below do you think you'll have more money by the age of 65? Scenario 1, you start at the age of 30 and you start investing $1,000 a year every year until the age of 65 at a 10% return. Or you start 9 years earlier at the age of 21 and invest that $1,000 a year for 9 years at the 10% return, but then stop adding money to that account when you turn 30. In scenario 1, you'll net a total return of a little under $300,000. That $300,000 will have accumulated off of $35,000 worth of investment. However, scenario 2 nets a total return of $381,000 with an initial investment of just $9,000. So that's the power of compounding interest. The earlier you start, the more money you can gain. For the rest of these modules, I'll be taking you through an example of Miss Mary's budget. Miss Mary is a 25-year-old professional. She's a college grad, has 2 years of employment, makes $47.50 a year as a salary. She has some savings, but her debts include car loans, student loans, and credit card debt. Now I want you to start thinking about the accounts that you have. These I have accounts include cash on hand, any savings or checking accounts you have with banks, money market funds, mutual funds, investment portfolios, or retirement accounts. This money represents the money that you have at your disposal. Even if it's not completely liquid, it's money that you have access to. Next, think about what you owe. These are any sort of loan or balances you owe to a person or institution. Most commonly, these include credit cards, car loans, student loans, any sort of personal loans, and of course, mortgages. Now for your activity. List out all your accounts in the Excel file under the tab Accounts. List all of the money that you have underneath the I have section and all the money that you owe under the I owe section. Again, you can find this spreadsheet online at the Simple Saving Habits website. If you are unable to use the Excel file, you can still use a pencil and paper method. Just at the top of your paper, write the accounts. On the left side, write the title I have, and on the right side, write the title I owe. Underneath each, fill in your account and your total values. Remember for your I owes to include the interest rate. This will come in handy for later examples. For Mary, her account snapshot looks like the following. She has one checking account for about $1,500, a savings account just under $6,000. For debts, like mentioned before, she has a credit card at 12%, a student loan at 5.7%, and a car loan at 4.5%. Her total debts are just over $21,000. Now I want you to start thinking about your income. Standard forms of income include your paychecks, rental income, any interest from other accruing accounts, pension checks, maybe dividend or annuity payments, or even cash or tips from a side job. Expenses come in different forms. One being your traditional monthly expenses. These are your most common, they happen every month, and are pretty regular. This includes groceries and gas. Fixed expenses can be monthly expenses, but are a set amount with a set due date. This is any sort of rent or mortgage payments, or other types of loan payments. Variable expenses may occur throughout the year. These expenses are known to incur, but you just don't know when. You know you're probably going to get sick this year, but you just really can't budget for exactly when. Or maybe you know that you need to pay for certain car maintenance, but it's not necessarily determined what month you're going to incur that cost. And of course, other expenses are very time specific. They only happen during a certain point in time. These include maybe your Christmas and back to school expenses. You know, Christmas occurs every December, and back to school expenses will start to occur in August. When doing a budget, it's easy to account for your monthly and your fixed expenses, but those variable and time specific aren't as easy. When you're doing your budgeting, you'll start to classify these as your house accounts. You will put money towards these each month, knowing that they sometimes will be incurred. Here's just a quick example of different types of expenses you may incur throughout the year. Start thinking about what expenses you have each year. For your next task, using the Excel file, navigate to the tab called Budgets and write down all your types of income, monthly expenses, and house accounts under each heading. Remember to include a savings category. It's not necessarily an expense, but you will need to plan for money to put away into a savings account each month. If you're using a pencil and paper method, just write below your accounts, income or expenses, and list those categories. Here's what Mary's categories look like. She has one income stream of a paycheck. She has your traditional monthly expenses, including fixed and variable. Under home accounts, we've identified a couple of different accounts. One being a car account, which accounts for oil changes and yearly maintenance. A health and personal account will be used for any medical issues of being sick. Gifts will be gifts for family or friends. It's noted there's a travel account, because Mary wants to possibly head up to Oregon to see her best friend. There's a Christmas account, which will be used in December but saved up for all year long, and of course her savings account. If you are having a hard time determining your specific categories, please don't stress. These categories are not locked in stone. You have a chance to reevaluate these in the next module. Also, try not to get too detailed. Instead of having a category for electric bill, water bill, gas bill, cable bill, etc., just classify everything under bills. However, if you specifically want to track a certain bill, say a cell phone bill, because you want to understand how it fluctuates month to month, go ahead and break that out. On the flip side of combining categories, try not to get too general. For kids, just don't have one category called children. Try to break out these into logical groups such as school, allowances, or kids' sports. Singles will tend to have about 25 different categories, whereas families can have upwards of 35. So we've come to the end of Module 1. Coming up in Module 2, understanding your financial profile, we'll go ahead and create a Mint.com account. We'll review and edit imported transactions and analyze spending patterns. What you will need for Module 2: your Excel file or piece of paper that you've created in this module, access to your account information, that's your bank information, your logins and passwords, and an internet connection to access Mint.com. Just want to thank you for completing this module. If you have any questions or feedback, go ahead and find me online or on Facebook. And thank you again.